Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to you guys for this last week during the Tarkov Drops event. For any of you guys that came out and hung out during these streams. Uh, for those of you guys who were here, on Saturday, I was able to raise in 9 hours $50,000. Over $50,000 for one of my favorite charities, the Best Friends Animal Society. It was probably one of the most life-changing streams, and honestly, like one of the most significant events of my life, being able to have, with the help of Pestily, a huge host, 70+ thousand people all day, just rallying behind a beautiful cause and using this event for something awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And, you know, with all of the new players, the influx of new players that are coming from this event, I'm really looking forward to starting this new series, Welcome to Tarkov, where I go through my newly reset account, you know, starting from level 1, and during my live stream, try to record as much as I can and talk through a lot of the decisions I'm making, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and, you know, help with everything from inventory management to doing quests, to, you know, PMC and Scav Runs, everything. There's going to be a lot I'm going to get to. There's going to be a lot I'm going to miss. There's going to be a lot that I'm going to be getting to later. I have a big outline of all the things I'm going to be talking about. So if you guys are new to Tarkov, or even if you're veterans, there's going to be, I think, a lot here that can benefit everybody. So enjoy this series. I'm going to be doing it, you know, on and off, you know, over the next few months while I'm leveling up this brand new account. You know, hopefully maybe we'll get to the Kappa container again and we'll be able to get through all the quests. But there's going to be a lot of other videos too, whether they're science videos or just normal kind of highlight videos along the way. So I hope you guys enjoy. Meet me live on stream pretty much every day, and feel free to ask questions. Let me know what you know, what you're struggling with, and let's see if we can help you through it together. Enjoy. There are enough good shotgun and rifle options when you first start that I would much rather use the starter pistols, the magazines, and the ammo to start to, like, jumpstart my progress towards towards leveling up the traders. I typically, if you look, so Peacekeeper level 2 requires level 10. Prop War is 15. Therapist is 13. 15. 15. 20. So the first possible trader that you can level up is Peacekeeper. So he's typically the one that I will I'll level up first. Yeah, I'm also not a big fan of just like the pistols. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the pistol caliber guns, especially if you're starting off not on day one of the wipe. If you're starting off in the middle of a patch, most of the people you're going to run into are going to have armor that the ammo that you have available to you, especially as a pistol caliber, is simply not going to be strong enough. So this is another one of those things, along with the sniper rifle, because I'm probably not going to be using this for a while. Personally, I just get rid of them right off the bat, like I said, and try to, you know, we're already $2,000 towards the money requirement for leveling up a Peacekeeper, so it's good progress. Now that I've sold a few of the items that I don't think are particularly useful for me, I like to organize the stash in a couple different ways. First of all, one of the things I like to do is grab, take the gas block and the handguard off of this boy and throw this on there. And then you have a nice little gun that you can use for later. Try to get that out of the way. And then these are going to sell. I will grab a bunch of the other items and I'll start to group them together just to keep the stash like organized so that I can be like efficient in terms of how much time I'm actually spending in the stash. So I'll keep like food and water in one area. You have, let me move my camera real quick. Underneath my camera, you can see you have energy. Sorry, that's your health. This is your hydration. And this is your energy. Once this reaches 0, you're dead. Once hydration and energy reach 0, you're gonna die pretty quickly. And you're gonna have all sorts of not fantastic effects. So when you die in between raids, or if you survive, you're going to want to make sure that before you get into the next raid that you kind of, top off any of your meters, so to speak, before you go. So that's my food. The grizzly I will hold on to because it's just got a ton of HP to it. So I'll usually use this to, if I die, fully heal. Let's get this gear out of the way because I'll probably use this later. Medical items. These are all obviously useful. Splints are for broken bones. Bandages are for bleeds. AI2s, these little med kits, they basically can heal 100 HP. And they're used pretty quickly. Takes 2 seconds to use. You can compare a lot of medical items of similar category by how much resources they heal, how long it takes for the actual animation to happen, as well as if they provide any additional benefits like healing status effects. So like an AI2 med kit, it can heal 100. It only takes 2 seconds. Something like an IFAK, which is a personal tactical first aid kit, this takes a little bit longer, 3 seconds. But it has a 300 health capacity, and it can also stop blood loss. You need to have at least 30 HP in this container minimum in order to heal a bleed. So if there's only 19 left and you go to heal and you're bleeding, a lot of times you might think that it's broken because it's not stopping your bleed, but it's because there's not enough resources. So that's something to keep in mind. And then radiation and intoxication aren't really things right now that you have to worry about, so ignore those. So let's just take these, we'll group these together. One of the beginning quests, the first quest you have for Therapist, you need to find 5 Solua kits and then hand them over to Therapist. There's a difference between when you see something that says find and something that says find in raid. Find means that you can, if you have it, if you buy it, if you kill a player and find it, or if you kill an AI character and loot it, or you find it in a box in the environment. That's all of those are find. When you see find in Raid, it needs to have been basically taken from the environment or the AI or something like that. So the Salua am going to take and just turn in right now. You can turn them in ahead of time so I don't accidentally use it. Oh, one more thing too. You can, if you craft items in your hideout, or if you receive them through some other mechanisms with the hideout, then those count as find in Raid as well. But I'll get to that another time. Yeah, so we can use the morphine. That's a good start. Pro tip. So this handbook is, I don't know if you're into like reading about the items. If you really care, by all means, go buck wild. I don't particularly care about the handbook, but what I do care about is this annoying bubble here. Initially, when they came out with it, the only way that you could clear it was to go through every single thing and click it to get rid of the bubble. Now you can just hover over the pop-up itself and click it and it'll go away. Thank God. And then over here is your messenger. You'll get messages from friends or from the traders, you know, when you take on or finish quests, collect insurance and stuff like that. So, all right. So there's items that I know I need for quests. I'm going to start to group them all together for future quests. It's really hard as a new player to know what's important and what's not, because the game simply doesn't tell you until you get there. So I'm going to try to link as many references as possible. There are a ton. One of the ones I was just actually sent by Takashi is this, which I can link to. These are all of the items that you need to find in Raid. So it's required that you find them in Raid. You can't buy them. So that you need to turn them in for the quest and you need to find them. So and a lot of them are rare. So if you come across any of these things, you really should do your best to try to get them out safely. The first thing I'm going to do is do a scav run. So as a scav, you are given a random loadout. You spawn in a random place on a map, usually in the middle of a raid, sometimes towards the middle, beginning, sometimes towards the end, it depends. You're given a random loadout. Sometimes you can have amazing stuff. Sometimes you can have garbage. But you can use it. There's a cooldown, you know, of, what is it, 15 or 20 minutes, something like that. I forget the exact details. So you can't just always run the scav. But if you're new and you are struggling to get gear, or you want to kind of amass your wealth in the game, which is largely one of the main goals, I would recommend you do your scav runs whenever you can. So a lot of times that ends up being like a PMC run, then a scav run, then a PMC run, and a scav run. You know, if you die when your PMC early, you know, you might have to do a couple more PMC raids, but always take advantage of your scav. And one of the things I'm going to talk about in this series is what maps, what guns, what ammo, what attachments, what builds, what I recommend for new players. And this is a little bit of a contentious opinion, but I think I have enough reasoning to substantiate why I think it is the best. In my opinion, I think Factory is the best map for players to get acquainted with the game for a couple different reasons that I'll outline later. Says that there is no map. Maps used to matter. Back in the day, you used to be able to, if you had a map, you could choose like where you spawned and stuff. They don't have that anymore. So I would just say for now, ignore this. If you don't know the maps at all, I would recommend just like pulling up a tab on another monitor or on your iPad or on your phone or something, because there's no map in game, and there's no indication of where to go at all, and you're not going to know a lot of the names of the places that you have to go to escape. They aren't clear at all. So if you don't have any sort of reference, there's nothing you can do, which is one of the major sort of deficiencies, in my opinion, with the design, that I'm sure that they'll hopefully address, as the game development progresses. But for all intents and purposes, pull up a map on a tab on your browser on another computer and ignore this screen. Another super, super important thing. Every map, with the exception of Lab, but that's a different story, has 2 time periods. Factory is always set. One is basically 3 a.m., one is basically 3 p.m. 3 a.m., it's pitch black. If you do not have a flashlight or like night vision goggles or something, you will just see a black screen and you'll hear shots, and it'll be the most horrifying thing you ever experience. All the other maps, they have timers that are 12 hours apart. So like in this case, a little bit after noon, and then this is a little bit after midnight. It's military time. Military time. So just know that this is literally 42 minutes into the day. This is right after midnight. This is just afternoon. So if you see like 2, that's 2 in the morning. That'll be a night raid, and it'll be pitch black, and it'll be scary as hell. So just keep that in mind when you're starting off. Let's do our first scav run on daytime factory. So, first, Scav Raid. Just so you know, the other scavs, they can be AI. They can also be, just like me, a player scav. The only way you can tell the difference is by either killing them and looting them, or looting one that is already dead, or looking at their behavior, the way they move, the kinds of items that they have. For example, the AI never jumps, and they'll never have 2 weapons. They always only have 1 weapon, unless they're... Unless they're like one of the bosses or raiders or something, but that's for a different day. Okay, there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to do quickly, but I'm going to go back and... So rude. I'm going to go back and explain why and what I'm doing. If you alt-click an item, it will equip it. If you have that slot available, and I'll talk about slots another time. If you use middle mouse button, it will identify an unidentified item. That's a player scav because he's got 2, but I don't want to aggro him if I don't have to. He's going to roll up on me. So now I have the decision around, do I kill this guy? If I kill him, if I kill him, then all of the other scavs will be aggressive towards me. So you have this, like, really difficult decision around letting them live. But if he has aggroed another scav, then they're going to be aggressive towards him, and then I can kill him without being punished. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm doing a video series for new players. You need to be the change you want to see in the world, chat. Okay? You can click on... You can click on the search tab. He's creeping. Yeah, so if you want to search a container, you can click on the search tab, or you can click on the entire area where it says unsearched. That works as well. It'll show the time and the extraction. So I have gate 3 and I have office window. PMCs and scavs have different extraction points. There is some overlap. Let's take this knife because we can use it for a trade. One of the primary reasons that I recommend Factory for new players is because it's the smallest map, so there's less that's a player scav. Yeah, so it's less for you to have to worry about. You really are only going to have one way out, which is a blessing and a curse. But there's nothing worse than trying to learn one of those huge maps as a new player. All right. We got some stuff. So that was defensive. My extract is literally right here, but I want to loot this guy first. I think this guy was waiting for me. I heard him aim down sights. Let me just go ahead and say this is not your typical first raid. All right. It's Tetris time. What do we prioritize? The things I can use, the things I need, the things I cannot buy. And the things that are valuable in, you know, in one way or another. This is hard, chat. Dog tags can be worth money, but not tons of money. Meds are always helpful for survival, but we can buy those anytime we want. 5,000 rubles is 5,000 rubles. Painkiller. These masks are everywhere. Can probably save some money there. Get rid of a couple of these things. I kind of want this rig. Because it's armored and it's level 5. I would need to give up a couple of guns. The ammo is really good. Sorry, yeah, level 4. This is level 4. What level is this? Level 3? Yeah, we'll do this. This is good enough. It's not perfect. No matter what Twitch chat tells you, you shouldn't expect every time you loot something to be totally perfect. Because you'll sit all day long trying to figure out what the optimal solution is while somebody rolls up on you and shoots you in the head. And then you'll regret it. So the duffel takes up exactly as much space as it has, so it's basically a free item. I'm going to drop this level 2 dog tag and grab the balaclava because I think you need it. But I'm not sure. And I'm just going to get the hell out. I could search the safe. I could do all sorts of other stuff. Not worth it. Not worth it. So. Raid number 1. I'd say that was a success. Again, it wasn't perfect. If I were to watch that back, I'm sure I would see a whole bunch of like way better ways of things of grabbing stuff, but there's a lot going on. It's going to be tough to keep track of everything. So, when in doubt, grab what you can and survive. So now you're at the end of your scav run. You have to transfer everything over. So let's go ahead and do that. If you control click items, it will basically just auto move to the next container, which in this case happens to be your stash. So let's just go and throw everything in that we have. Make sure, you know, you can even take the knife and all that stuff. Just do next. Feel free to take a look at your stats. And there you go. So you can see this little golden check mark here means that you found it in Raid and that you currently need it for a quest. So we are going to want to turn this in. But one of the things to keep in mind is that he just wants the gun. He doesn't need all this crap. But we want it, and we need it. So let's go ahead and identify a lot of this stuff. And let's take, like, everything off. that doesn't make it like non-functioning. Like if we remove the magazine, it's a non-functioning weapon, which is what the red means. So I'm pretty sure we have to give him a functioning weapon. So let's just take off a few of those things. We'll hand these two into Prapor. I'm going to hold on to the SKS and the Hunter. We're going to sell that. This is junk that we're going to hold on to. Let's put the grenades up by the grenades. The bag has a rig in it. We're going to sell that. I don't like the pistols. Don't care. So we're going to sell that. Let's keep the bag. And then this rig is nice as well. Whoops. As much as I want to focus on spending money and selling to Peacekeeper to level him up, because he's the first one I'm going to level 2. I also need rubles because it's the primary currency. So let's figure out who we're going to be trying to level up after that. I think it's probably going to be Therapist. Because she is level 13. So I will typically sell dog tags, medical items, electronics, and stuff like that. Valuables, stuff like that, I'll sell to Therapist. Suppressors, lights, sights, optics, other stuff like that tends to get the most from Skier. And then usually everything else that's left is pretty much guns and attachments that Skier wouldn't take. I usually sell to Mechanic. That's if you want to maximize the amount of money you get. But typically, Skier and Ragman deal in a lot of, you know, like clothing items and stuff. Mechanic and Prapor deal with, you know, guns and a lot of guns, attachments, stuff like that. Peacekeeper has a lot of overlap between the guns and pretty much a lot of the item types, but he deals in US dollars. And then Jaeger is a piece of shit. Let's go ahead and turn in these two shotguns. Easy peasy. We need to make sure that we have everything that we need. I'm not gonna take any of the stuff I just got, because you won't have a lot of this stuff. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna take one of these, and you can hover over it and hit 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever number you want to hotkey it, or you can click and drag it down onto one of the numbers, whatever you're more comfortable with.
Batch subscription process initiated.
Wow. Chaka, bro, thank you for the insane donations and the 20 gifted subs, my dude. You're nuts. Okay. Thank you, bro. What I'm gonna do is so whether you have a gamma or an alpha or a beta container, whatever your container is, depending on your account, whatever you put in here, you don't lose when you die. So there's no harm in taking extra meds with you just in case you like encounter the unforeseen, you know, circumstances where you get in multiple fights or whatever. The only thing to keep in mind is that the only risk you have, theoretically speaking, is if you find something amazing, then you're going to want to put the amazing thing in your container and move whatever's in there out. So you should be prepared potentially to lose these things if you either use them or you replace something more valuable. Let's bring a couple of bandages to make sure that we have enough to stop at least 2 bleeds. We have 300 HP's worth of health, which is enough to heal us fully, enough to heal like us mostly fully from getting pretty hurt once. If we break a bone, we have a splint. And the last thing that we're going to want is painkillers. Let me go ahead and we'll go to therapists. This is where you get like meds and other stuff like this. I'm going to buy... Let's just go ahead and we'll buy 5 painkillers now. You have a couple of options. You can take the painkillers and you can put them in your pouch, and you can have 4 uses that are, you know, protected uses, but you don't have the luxury of hotkeying from your gamma container. It needs to be either in your pockets or in your tactical rig. If it's in your bag, you can't hotkey it as well. So you have the trade-off to say whether or not you want to risk dying and losing it, but not being able to use it quickly, versus being able to use it with a hotkey, so in a pinch. That's something to keep in mind. I'm not too worried about, you know, the few thousand rubles it costs to buy the painkillers. If you have, you know, struggle with money, you might want to do that. Another alternative too, I don't know if the IFAK you get with the EOD account or not, but I don't believe you need it for any quests. So what you can do is I can actually replace one of the bandages and one of the AI2, which you'll hear streamers refer to it as cheese because it looks like a slice of cheddar cheese. You can basically replace 2 of those and keep it in there. So this will probably last you a few raids. The only other thing I want to mention here that I do that's useful for me, and might be useful for you, it might not, is I put the more important, valuable things on the bottom. And throughout the raid, I will prioritize which things I put where, so that it's easy for me and quick for me to mentally say, let's say my container's like full, right? And I find something that I want. Let's say it's a morphine in the environment. I know that these are going to be the junk that I'm going to want to, you know, replace it with, as opposed to like a, you know, something more valuable towards the bottom. That's just a tip that I use to help me prioritize loot, and make looting a little bit quicker so that you don't have to stress out too much. And one final thing, because I just remembered, if you want to move items between containers, I'll go over the alt-click and control-click stuff later, but you can drag the item, and you can put it in the cell or cells, you know, that it occupies. Or if you don't really care where it goes, but you want to grab it as quickly as possible. You can take it and you can drop it on top of this, basically the little thumbnail of the item itself, and it will put it essentially in like the first available slot, which tends to be like the upper left that it fits in. So to me, that's a lot quicker. If you let's say you're looting in a pinch, right, and your stash is all jacked up. It's all wacky like this, right? And you want to grab this item. If you don't line it up perfectly with this, you won't be able to grab it. So when someone's coming up on you and you're stressing out and you're freaking out, you might not be able to do it. You can be much less precise if you just drag it and drop it onto the image. That's what I do. And that's been invaluable for me because it's much safer, much faster, and much less error prone. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the rig with the AK, the ammo that you start with. I don't think I'm gonna need 60 rounds. I'm going to, if you hold control and you drag, you can split a stack. So let's just keep 30. Or 29 is fine, because I already put one in the chamber. Put that there, and there's no sense in keeping this in your pocket, because you can load your magazine from your gamma. So if you have space, you might as well put extra ammo in your protector case. So yeah, let's get started, I suppose. We're gonna go and we are going to do with our PMC a factory daytime run. Not going to go offline. I'm gonna go online. I'm not gonna run armor for my first run because a lot of new players don't have armor and don't necessarily have access to armor or don't have the money. So one of the things to keep in mind is you want to decide when you do your player PMC runs whether or not you want to insure your gear. Prapor, you'll get your stuff back in like a day and a half, 2 days, something like that. It's a little bit cheaper. If you pay a little bit more, therapists will get it back to you in slightly faster time. But I just tend to do insure all, and let's compare the price difference: 13,000 and 8,000. I don't really need my stuff back super fast, so I tend to insure with Prep War, and it's also the default, and I'm lazy. So I'll hit insure all. I'll insure. I'll get into insurance in some other point. I personally think you should always insure everything all the time, except if you're playing on labs, because insurance does not work on labs. Let's hit ready and we'll hop right into it. All right, you're gonna get into a raid. First thing you're gonna want to do, if you're using the AK, is if you want it to be full auto, hit B. Otherwise, it's gonna be on semi and you're gonna pull a Dr. D and not realize it. But don't go spraying all your ammo right away and blowing your load too fast, because reloading in this game is not like Call of Duty. Your most important asset in this game are your ears. So just listen up. I know someone's coming around this way because I could hear him. Now this gun at level 1 with no skills and no modifications, it's going to have quite a bit of recoil on it. So I'm going to try and be really precise, aim for their head, and tap. I'm not going to spray at their center of mass, because if they're wearing decent armor, my bullets are just going to... It's going to do some damage to them, and it's going to screw up their armor, but it ain't going to kill them. I heard somebody run over here. I'm pretty sure they're underground. Map knowledge is just something that, like, you're going to have to get familiar with experience. There's no sense in me trying to, like, run through the map with you. You'll get the best education on maps by just playing them and watching other people play them. Let's just grab everything now. I'm going to control-click everything. Optics and attachments and stuff are worth a decent amount, so if I find any, I'm going to just put them right in my protector case. I'm going to check down here because I could have sworn I heard the guy run. Okay, it looks like he's... Pick up the junk.
Subscriber reinitialization complete.
So as you can see, I'm starting to move out cheap stuff from my container. Replace it with better stuff. Suppressors are typically worth a really nice amount of money. Sounds like a scav is fighting a player. You can't really shoot through this. Sometimes you can get... I don't know if they're fragmentations or what, but don't bother. Don't waste your ammo. But also don't feel like invincible, because you can get shot through there. Slow tapping towards the chest and head is the key. All right, so we just shot like what, maybe 10 rounds. Tarkov is a game where ammo management, unlike most other games, ammo management is super important. There aren't a lot of games that provide this level of detail. So I don't know how many rounds I have, unless you count how many shots you took. If I reload, my magazine gets switched out with the next available slot. If I didn't have any slots, or if I didn't have a vest, I'd drop my magazine on the ground, and it's a pain in the ass. So now, this magazine, if I were to reload again, it's not going to be full. So we can take our bullets and slowly start loading. I came underground in the corner just to try to be out, out of the open, because unfortunately with the UI the way it is right now, there's no way to load magazines without having the menu up. That will come with some practice. But that's the optimal. When you loot, I could loot here, right? but then you die. Welcome to Tarkov, everybody.